Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Welcome back to the second season of Food by the Game, The Informer. This episode is number 4 of The Informer. And in this episode, I'm going to share with you how the informer, turned everything upside down and used the fear that he had for his situation and him wanting to survive his situation, how he turned that into an asset for himself, or at least he thought he did anyway. And I hope that you see this for what it is, because this type of behavior doesn't make our community safe. It only makes it look that way. And this letter that I'm going to be sharing with you is a lesson in that. Uh, the guy that I'm talking about that did the informing, he got caught up in a situation, in the situation that he's dealing with right now. But I'm going to share that with you in this episode and wrap this whole series of Food by the Game up, because I think that the way he came across in this letter, and some parts of the letter I read, some parts I don't, I think this will probably be the last letter that he writes me. I don't know if he's gotten frightened, or I don't know if he is just a little upset with me for some of the things that I've said to him in the letters that I've written back to him. I try to be clear with him on the fact that I think that, the universe gives all of us second chances. And we may not agree with how that comes about. I don't have any clue as to, how things are going to come to any individual at any given time. But I do believe that he had an opportunity to turn his life around, even at the expense of somebody else's life. So, I made it clear to him that to continue to do what he was doing and to use that to eliminate his competition made him, to me, even more dangerous than he was before, just selling drugs. Now he was using this situation in a way that he was taking advantage of the opportunity that he was given. He was taking advantage of the situation that he was in. But I'm not going to dwell on that too much, right? I'm just going to talk about, what he said to me in this letter. And this is going to wrap this season of Food by the Game up. But I hope that you've enjoyed it. But again, let me get to this letter, because this letter here really highlights to me what I think people should come away with this, out of this whole season with, okay? And the name of this episode is It Was Either Him or Me. Dear Joe, you wanted to know how I ended up in prison. If I was using my situation to get rid of the competition, how would I end up in prison? Well, let me answer that question for you. Brother, I've been able to survive on the streets for several years doing what I've been doing. I've set up a lot of people. I've testified against a lot of people. And I'm not proud of any of that. I don't want you to come away thinking that I'm proud of what I've done. I may have made the wrong decisions in doing what I did. But I did that because I was afraid for my life. You can call me a coward. You can call me whatever you want to call me. But I was afraid for my life. And I thought that this was the only way to protect myself. If I became that dude, you got to remember, in the streets, as long as you're that dude, people will tolerate you. They might not like you, but they'll tolerate you. If they can eat off of you, then, you can usually get a pass. But in this situation that landed me in prison, even this situation worked out for me in a lot of ways, and I'm going to explain that to you. It was this one guy that was buying my stuff from me, and he heard about the rumors in the streets about me and that I was a rat and all of those types of things. So one night, when he came by my house to buy some product from me, he was a little drunk or high, either one. It didn't matter to me which one it was, but he was intoxicated. And he started talking about all of the things that he had heard about me, and he didn't know why dudes would still want to mess with me and buy stuff from me. He was like, he didn't even know why he messed with me, and that I deserved, you know what I'm saying, a bullet in the head. That's what he told me. And I'm standing there listening to him talk crazy to me, and something in me got mad. It wasn't that I was upset with what he was saying and got scared. It was that I was upset that he was even saying this stuff out loud to me. Here I was, I had tricked myself into believing that I was straight again, that I was solid again as far as the streets are concerned. Okay? Don't get it twisted. My self-esteem, as far as being a decent human being, you can challenge that all you want to, right? But I wasn't going to let nobody make me feel like I was less than a man because I had made a decision to protect me. And that pissed me off by him saying some things to me, even though they were true. He did call me a rat. He said all of these things. And I saw that he had a pistol in his pants, right in the front. I could see it under his shirt. And he got more and more agitated while he was talking to me. You know, I think it was the drugs or the liquor talking, whatever the case may be, because he had never done this to me before. So he's talking all of this crazy stuff to me. So I walk behind my desk and I sit down. And I'm playing it off. I'm like, man, sit down, man. Let's talk about this. Sit down, sit down. I'm trying to calm him down, but really I'm trying to get to my pistol. Because I feel like he's trying to gas himself up to do something. Keep in mind, he's in my house. Nobody's there but me and him. Now, I didn't know if he had told anybody he was coming there, but I didn't let anybody know that he was coming there. So he could have gotten away with doing anything to me. But he didn't know that. All I wanted to do was to get behind my desk and get my hand on my pistol. So while he was talking crazy to me, I sit down and I kept a pistol in my drawer. So I said, man, do you want this stuff or not? And he was like, yeah, I want it. And I said, give me the money then. So he reached up under his shirt and he grabbed his pistol. He said, man, let me get all of that. He's finna take something from me. So I looked at him and I knew then it was either him or me. He wasn't just finna take this dope. He was finna take this dope and whatever else I had in there, he's gonna kill me. He had been gassing himself up. So I did the only thing I could. Like I said, I might have been telling on people, but I ain't no coward. I just didn't want to go to prison. And I don't know why that's so hard for people to understand. Yeah, I was doing wrong. And I know what the code is. But ain't nobody living by that code, Joe. You can keep saying whatever you want to say. And don't nobody live by that code. So I grabbed my pistol and I shot. And when I shot, I fell to the side to try to dodge him because I figured he would fire back. But he didn't even fire back. The bullet, when it hit him and knocked him down. And I fell to the side. And I see him laying on the floor. And now he's trying to roll over. He done dropped the pistol and everything. He was stunned. He wasn't built like that. But he thought because of what he heard about me in the streets and what everybody had been saying, he thought that he could come up in there and boo me. But now I'm looking at him laying on the ground, on the floor in my house, crawling, crying. So I stood over the top of him and I said, who's crying now? Who's a sucker now? And so he started begging for his life. You know what I did? I pissed on him. I pissed on him. I didn't shoot him. I didn't hit him. I pissed on him. And I told him he was a boy. He was a sucker. I kicked him. Get up out of my house. So I took the gun that he had, got rid of it, cleaned the house up, and before I knew it, there was a knock at the door. When I looked through the peephole, I seen it. It was the detectives that always handle all the situations with me. I open the door, the first thing out of their mouths is, what happened? We got a complaint against you. Somebody saying you shot them over here. So they told me to sit down, put my hands on the desk, and they wiped my hands with some rags, towel, trying to get the gunpowder residue test going. Told me to take off my shirt. I did, but they didn't know I'd already changed clothes. So they didn't get anything off of my shirt, but they got some off my hand. They searched the place, they couldn't find the gun. They got rid of both of them. They couldn't find no drugs. But they said they had to take me in. They took me down to the police department. While I'm sitting down there waiting, they came in and said that I'm going to have to stand in a lineup. And I told them, am I going to jail? They said, this is another ball game right here. This ain't got nothing to do with no drugs. You actually are being accused of shooting somebody. You shot somebody. Of course, I denied it. I said I hadn't done anything. But they knew. Let me tell you how they knew. The whole time that I had been working for them, my house was wired up. They had everything on tape. They had everything on tape. I'm the one that's working for them. But they still didn't even trust me like that. They had tapes of everything. Now, all the drug transactions, they didn't use any of that. None of that came up. And I get sent to prison. But because I was a confidential informant, they kept me at the county jail in safekeeping. Yeah. I ended up getting 12 years. And I'm halfway through that now. I'm supposed to be getting double the amount of good time at the jail, but they don't even let me do that because I'm down there for safekeeping. So I'm getting the same kind of time people get in TDOC. I'm not getting the same kind that you get. I just thought I would have been out of here sooner. After 6 years, you're getting a double good time down in the county, you usually get out of the penitentiary. But I'm not. But that's okay. I'll be going up for parole pretty soon. Hopefully I'll get out. But I wanted to make sure that the people that are listening to your show understand that even when you think that you're doing something to help, you got to think about the reasons that you're doing it. When I first got put in that cross for doing the wrong thing, I didn't want to tell on them two guys. I didn't. But it was a part of me that I was so afraid of going to jail, I didn't know what to do. And they got me. And I gave in to it. And I told it. And then after that, I set up somebody. And after that, I would tell on other people, set other people up. And now I'm in jail. But you know what? I don't know how this happened. But I got a lot of people in here saying that they don't believe I told it. If I was a rat, they wouldn't have put me in jail. Not even for this. I didn't correct them. I just went on with it. And I told them, I said, man, you know, people going to say whatever, you know? People will talk bad about you. For some reason, I still wanted to be accepted by these people, by the game. I still wanted to be accepted as somebody that was worthy of the street respect that you get. And I can't explain to you why. This was my opportunity to walk away from all of this. All I had to do was keep my mouth shut, no matter what anybody said, pro or con. Just keep my mouth shut, get out, move on with my life. But when people were saying to me, I don't believe you know, Red. I don't think that them folks that are hating this and that, you getting your money, you doing this, you doing that, right? I jumped right in. I jumped right in. And I added to it. I didn't have to worry about running into anybody that I had put in jail through my testimony or prison, because they were not going to let them be anywhere near me. All I had to do was push back against any story. And I did. But I shouldn't have. I didn't have to. That was my way out of the game. Just keep my mouth shut. But there's a part of me that wanted to be accepted so bad that I couldn't. And I think that's what happens to a lot of us, Joe. We want to be accepted by the wrong type of element. We want to be accepted by people that are underachievers, because that's what criminals are. Criminals are underachievers. Criminals are people that have given up on themselves and don't believe that they can succeed in doing anything else. So that's what they do. So we want to be accepted by those that think and feel and act the same way we do. We don't like to challenge ourselves. And I know, brother, you don't want to hear this, but I think you're doing what you're doing is a good thing. That's why I reached out to you and wanted to share my story. Because I want people to know that this ain't that. And I know I ain't going to never be able to make people understand fully. But I think we all know somebody that has done what I've done. And I think we all probably have the same opinion of them, that they ain't straight. But I want you to think about the reasons that people do it. I'm not trying to justify what I did. I'm just sharing with you the truth about why I did it. I was afraid to go to prison. And I know a lot of people say, if you're scared, don't get in it. But that don't work either. Because most people that get in the game don't have a clue as to what the other side of the game is about until it goes bad. And when it goes bad, then that's when you get to see what they're made of. And the first time, my understanding, man, look here. My first time, look here. I didn't cry in front of those detectives, but I wanted to. I wanted to, but I didn't. And I think most people feel the same way that first time when they put you in that box. They made me feel like I was nothing, and I was scared. So if I can leave you and your listeners with one message, it would be this. If you can't handle the other side of the game, stay out of it, all the way out of it. Because the truth is, eventually, they're going to catch you. The truth is, eventually, you're going to be offered an opportunity to stand on the twisted ideology of the criminal lifestyle or turn on it. And that's the truth. But don't nobody want to talk about that. The gangsters don't want to talk about that. The thugs don't want to talk about that. But that's what's going on. That's the truth. The police know. Put enough pressure, you'll flip. Then you got to think about brothers like yourself that's been locked up for a long time. Most of them that I've met that have gotten out of prison, if they thought they could have gotten out sooner, they would have done something too. But once you in, you in. Ain't nothing you can do. Ain't no getting out like that. Ain't no getting out like that. But it is what it is. I just wanted to leave that with you, Joe, so that you can understand. I'm not trying to justify it, but I was a victim too. And I know you don't accept that or believe that, but that's just what it is. I understand what you said in your letter, that I'm not a victim, that you took advantage. And I know that I took advantage. I know that I took advantage of a lot of situations. But now I'm going to take this opportunity when I get out, even though I'm still pretending in here. And part of that is I'm still scared. But when I get out, hopefully they'll let me go. Because I'm going to try to leave the state and be done with all of this. That's what I wanted to say, Joe. Thank you for this opportunity. Check this out, y'all. I'm going to wrap this episode up. I'm going to wrap this season up, right? But before I do, I want to say this. This brother kept referring to, things that I said to him in the letters that I wrote back to him. And basically what I was saying to him is this. By doing what you did, by taking advantage of the situation and opportunity that they gave you, you lost the victimhood tag. Yeah, they took advantage of you, but you found a way even in that to cause more pain, to cause more harm. And I'm not saying that the people that, this is what I told him, I'm not saying that the people that you testified against or that you gave information on were innocent of anything. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this. Everybody is trying to do whatever it is that they're trying to do, is trying to take advantage of people. You had an opportunity to stop. And he didn't do that, y'all. And that's what I told him. If you have an opportunity to get out of this life, it's not as simple as a lot of people want it to be. It's not as simple as a lot of people like to think it is. To get out of the lifestyle, you have to ask yourself a hard question. Is my self-esteem, is my identity, is who I think I am wrapped up in what I do? Think about that. Is who I think I am and what I do, right? Is my self-esteem and identity wrapped up in that? And in most cases, it is. We got a lot of guys in here that won't walk away from gangs, won't walk away from the criminal lifestyle because they believe to the core of their being, if they do that, that they're nobody, that nobody will see them. This is all about being seen, people. And I know people that don't live this lifestyle won't get what I'm saying. But if you try hard enough and try to compare to transpose it to what you do in the legal world, whether you be a firefighter, police officer, postman, somebody that works at Walmart, Walgreens, restaurant, whatever the case may be, are you proud of what you do? And if you're proud of what you do, some parts of you, some parts of your identity are wrapped up in that. Your self-esteem comes along with that. It's built by you doing your job in a good way. I'm not comparing a job, a legal job, to the criminal lifestyle. What I'm saying is what it does to your mind, how it makes you feel. Are you proud every day when you go to work and you do a good job? Are you excited about your job? And if you are, then what happens to you if you lose that job? Some people get depressed. Some people feel like it's the end of the world. And that's what I'm saying happens to people that are involved in the criminal lifestyle. They can't see beyond that moment in time. They can't see how they matter anymore beyond that. Because in that world, somebody says that they matter. Now, we know that's a trick, but to them, it means something because that's all they have. I know when I walked away from the lifestyle, I had withdrawals, y'all. For real, I had withdrawals. It was times, man, I'm like, man, I wanted to know what they were talking about. I wanted to shake their hand. I want to be like, what's up, bro? I wanted to do all of that. But I had to go through those withdrawals because I didn't want it anymore. I didn't want it anymore. And that was a hard thing to do. It's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever been on drugs, but I ain't been on no drugs, but I had to get off salt, right? I was told, by the doctor I had to leave salt alone. Listen to me, y'all. That's a hard thing to do, stop eating salt. Putting salt on your food, especially when you like somebody like me, I love potatoes. Mashed potatoes, french fries, tater tots, anything like that. Potato casserole, whatever. Smothered with salt. But when I was told I had to stop eating that salt because it's going to mess my blood pressure up, man, look here. Attitude changed, feeling all sick, mad and everything. I was going through withdrawals. I wanted it. I didn't feel right. And that's kind of like what it is when you walk away from the lifestyle. You get depressed. You don't feel like you matter to anybody anymore. Because the people in the legal world, they don't want you. That's what you think anyway. And the people that have accepted you, they didn't tell you to get out. You walk away from. You don't want to just walk away from love, y'all. Even though it's twisted love. People find it hard to do. So I understand a little bit about what the informant is saying. And I had no intention. I hope that if he gets an opportunity to listen to this or somebody in his family listen to this, tell him I didn't mean to make him feel any bad way. I just didn't want him to think that he was a victim, because I didn't want him to relish in that. Because even when you think like that, you hold yourself back. Accept responsibility for what you did, who you are in that moment, and then grow from it. That's my thing. That's what I'm going to leave y'all with, y'all. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.